I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White. Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie. Rachel Zegler, she's an asshole. Every time she speaks, she gets less likable.
This truly is the worst casting, maybe, in the history of the film industry.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
The star, Rachel Zegler, is unbelievably charmless in public.
She just sounds bitter and angry.
I don't think they're gonna buy it. I don't think they're gonna watch it. I don't think they're gonna like it.
She was, as woke as they are.
A billion-dollar dream turned into a Hollywood horror story. What was supposed to be Disney's next big win ended in disaster.
Disney's Snow White was essentially a box office dud. The regime that decided that wokeness needed to be infused in every movie. If they keep going along this path, they're gonna go bankrupt.
The Snow White remake didn't just flop. It exploded into one of the most chaotic, controversial failures in recent studio history. And right at the center of it all, Rachel Zegler.
That's one interview clip that you read the quote from, but she's gone on to talk about this film numerous times, how she once thought Snow White was creepy, she doesn't like the prince, she thinks she should get paid more because she has to wear that dress, she should get paid for streaming, for every hour she has to wear the dress. I mean, talk about biting the hand that feeds you.
From viral interviews to public backlash, from political scandals to a potential lawsuit.
And they postponed the release of this thing, Ben, for a year because their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, told all Trump supporters that they could off, excuse me, but she did. That was just in November. They didn't even know she was going to do that one. Said she hated Snow White, mocked the fact that there was a prince and that she falls in love as opposed to leaning into her own power.
This isn't just a movie gone wrong. It's a full-scale implosion that's left Disney scrambling and left Rachel Zegler fighting for her future. But how did it get this bad? Section 1, the dream that turned into a disaster. Disney had high hopes for the Snow White remake. With a production budget reported between $170 to $270 million, plus marketing and post-production costs, it was one of the studio's most expensive projects in years. The plan was simple: reimagine a beloved classic, modernize the message, and introduce a bold new face, Rachel Zegler, as Disney's next princess. At first, the buzz was positive. Zegler was young, talented, and fresh off Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. But behind the scenes, warning signs were everywhere.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
The film was plagued by delays, reshoots, and even a fire on set. Then came the press tour, and that's when everything unraveled. Section 2, the interviews that sparked outrage. Rachel Zegler didn't just promote the film, she unintentionally detonated it. In multiple interviews, she openly mocked the original 1937 Snow White. She called the prince a stalker, dismissed the love story as outdated.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There is a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no prince or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie, right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. It's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut, who knows?
And insisted this version was about female empowerment. For some, that sounded like progress. For others, it sounded like disrespect. Her delivery didn't help. She came off as sarcastic, smug, and dismissive. Traits fans didn't want associated with Disney's first princess. The interviews quickly went viral, and not for the right reasons. Instead of building anticipation, Rachel became the internet's favorite target. Memes mocked her statements, old fans were furious. Even casual moviegoers began to question what Disney was thinking. Section 3, political posts and PR nightmares. Just as things were starting to cool off, another wave of controversy hit. Rachel's past political tweets resurfaced, aggressive posts attacking former President Trump and his supporters.
But you are not entitled to call for Trump supporters to be harmed. Like, you are actually not entitled to do that. And so let me just remind you, Rachel Zegler, of what the map looks like, just so you can understand when your Disney movie is coming out, how many people you are wishing harm upon. Like, this is America right now.
And one particularly controversial message expressing support for Palestine just moments after tweeting excitement for Snow White. To make matters worse, her co-star Gal Gadot is Israeli. The timing couldn't have been worse. Insiders claim Disney executives were horrified. One even flew out personally to ask Rachel to take down the tweet. She refused. The PR team was in full-blown panic mode. And suddenly, this wasn't just a press blunder, it was a full-on crisis. Section 4, Internal Meltdown at Disney. When opening weekend finally arrived, the numbers were shocking. Domestically, Snow White earned under $45 million. Globally, it barely crossed $87 million. For a film that cost upwards of $250 million, this was catastrophic.
I mean, they're projected to lose between $200 and $400 million on this.
Reports say Disney held emergency meetings. Executives were furious. According to one source, someone in the room shouted, "She torched a billion-dollar brand in under a year, and we paid her to do it."
The thing that really shocks me about this story, Disney and all these media companies, they invest hundreds of millions of dollars into these projects, right? Have they ever thought about maybe like a little bit of vulnerability study, opposition research, that sort of thing, before you go and hire some Zoomer who's a lunatic?
Rumors began to swirl. Disney might seek financial restitution. Morality clauses, bonus clawbacks, and contract violations were all on the table. Legal teams were allegedly consulted. What started as a misstep was now being treated like a breach of corporate trust. Section 5, Rachel's apology. Sincere or scripted? As pressure mounted, Rachel issued an apology. She looked tearful and regretful.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
But viewers weren't convinced. Sources close to the situation claimed Disney's PR team ghostwrote most of the statement. Fans could tell. It felt rehearsed, calculated, corporate. Instead of diffusing the backlash, it made things worse. The apology didn't feel like remorse. It felt like damage control. Comments poured in accusing her of faking it. Critics pointed out what was missing, what felt off, and what seemed carefully edited. The whole thing backfired. Again. Section 6, Fans Revolt and Meme Warfare. Online, the backlash became relentless. Hashtags like #NotMySnowWhite and #BoycottDisney started trending.
I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White.
Memes spread across every platform, often overlaying Rachel's interview clips with sarcastic commentary and scenes from the original film. Even the film's creative choices became meme material. The original 7 dwarfs were replaced with CGI characters after actor Peter Dinklage criticized the story.
Isn't this the one where they actually took the dwarves out of the 7 dwarves?
Yes, we have CGI dwarves now.
Okay, yeah, because little people didn't need jobs either.
It's Peter Dinklage wanted the whole field to himself. Went out there and was like,
the ladder down
this
behind
is insulting,
him.
unless it's me.
He kicked the ladder down.
He got his money in Hollywood, and now he's like,
oh,
don't
nicely
hire
done,
anyone
Smug.
else.
The ladder.
That was nicely done.
No.
Fans saw this as another blow to tradition, and soon even that change was getting mocked online. What should have been a celebration of a new era turned into a digital war zone.
But I mean, he got his money acting as a little person. Now he's saying it's demeaning for them to have those roles. He acted as a dwarf on like the most popular show on TV for 10 years, made millions of dollars. Now he's like, how dare people hire dwarves to act as dwarves? It's ridiculous. He got his money and then kicked the ladder down behind him.
And Rachel was right in the middle of it. Section 7, a legacy insulted and a franchise in crisis. The problem wasn't just marketing or Rachel's interviews, it was the entire direction of the film. By stripping away the romance, replacing beloved characters, and shifting the tone, Disney alienated the core fanbase. Instead of building on a legacy, they buried it. Walt Disney's Snow White was more than a fairy tale. It was the foundation of an empire. But this remake felt like a rejection of everything the original stood for.
And to constantly say things that are like just atrocious because they're looking for attention and they can never have enough of it. They can never have enough of it.
Audiences didn't just dislike the changes, they felt betrayed by them. Section 8, fallout for Rachel and Disney's future. Now, the consequences are unavoidable. Rachel Zegler's Hollywood momentum has completely stalled.
And then they had to hire a special media consultant for her to follow her around all the time and make sure she didn't continue shitting on Snow White and the prince and young love and women who want to get married and Steven Spielberg, the executive producer of her previous movie, and white people who she claims wanted to know if she was really a Latina on her first movie.
And some producers allegedly see her as radioactive. Too risky to hire, too controversial to promote. Projects she was once attached to are rumored to be quietly dissolving. Her future with Disney hanging by a thread. And Disney itself is facing a deeper crisis. Snow White was meant to anchor its live-action remake lineup. Instead, it's become a symbol of what happens when a studio ignores its audience. Insiders say Disney is now rethinking its entire remake strategy, pulling back, slowing down, and reevaluating what fans actually want. Because this wasn't just a movie that missed the mark, it was a brand implosion. Conclusion. What started as a dream role for Rachel Zegler has turned into a cautionary tale. A controversial press tour, political backlash, a studio in crisis.
They've been in a full meltdown about this girl for a couple of years now, and how they had her tweet out like a little, yay, Snow White, can't wait, so excited, I love to play her. And she did it and got like millions of views, and they were like, good job, Rachel. And then she, like, minutes later, followed it up with, and never forget, free Palestine.
And isn't her co-star Jewish?
Yes.
Yes, Gal Gadot, whatever.
Gadot. I mean, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
They tried, they flew an executive, one of the producers, out to go visit personally with Rachel Zegler to say, could you please take that down? Because we understand you can have your political views, but those aren't really helpful while you're trying to build an audience for a movie. Maybe you could save them for like your diary and your friends, but like maybe not, maybe just take the tweet down. And she wouldn't.
And a remake that lost the plot in every way that mattered. Whether Rachel can recover from this remains to be seen. Maybe she'll bounce back. Maybe she'll fade out. But one thing's for sure, Snow White won't be remembered as a success story. It'll be remembered as a warning. So, what do you think? Did Disney make a mistake casting Rachel? Or was she just a scapegoat for a bigger failure? Let us know in the comments, and if you want more behind-the-scenes drama from Hollywood's biggest flops and fallouts, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one.